Alright, I'm back. Michael Jansen here with How to Draw a Tiny House with Google SketchUp, Part 7. I'm going to continue working on the inside of this thing. I noticed right at the end of the last video, that I had made an error, a very minor error in the drawing, and I'm going to fix that up here. I'm also going to really work on not saying Not sure how I'm going to do that, but I will give it my best try. So here I'm just modifying this piece of plywood and moving back a couple 2x4s. I think this happened when I was making modifications to this window. I had moved it over, and on the other side I had added one. And with all those layers of sheathing and siding, I didn't quite put the 2x4 where it needed to be. It's really important to catch this kind of a goof up early on like this, or even earlier if you can, because as you can tell, this is kind of a pain. Because it's important because I said again. It's important because you want to be able to have a measured drawing at the end of this. So if you've goofed up, you're going to have, incorrect. Did it again. You're going to have incorrect measurements, and when you get outside with your saw and your framing square, that's gonna quickly become annoying, because you're going to have to rearrange your thinking. You're going to have to pull out the calculator and start adding and subtracting fractions, and that's going to be a royal pain. So it's much better to sit inside on a cold day with warm, cozy socks on and fool around with your drawing like this. I've also found it's better to fix it and not try to redraw it or something. Although, as you're frustrating with a situation like this, that'll cross your mind that you really just need to throw the thing out and start over. Or at least throw part of it out and start over. Alright, now that that's mostly done, I'll start moving on to the interior pieces that also need to move around now that I fixed those wall sections. I'm also trying to rethink at this point, how am I going to connect these interior walls to the side walls and keep them nice and sturdy and yet lightweight. But as I'm going along here, you'll see I have to make edits to things like the floor, so I get a little distracted by those other little things that got pushed out of place when I moved that wall around and made those changes. This is actually where SketchUp starts to get a little bit frustrating, and I'm certain SketchUp drawings are really fun in the beginning of each drawing, and as you get deeper and deeper into it, and as the complexity increases, it gets much more frustrating dealing with each little piece and how they all interrelate. Now I'm almost done cleaning this up. Let's just make it a little bit wider. Seem to fit better with the studs in the side walls. Now I'm going to bring the kitchen back in and just start fooling around with it. Going to experiment with different cabinet layouts, see how they look, see how they wrap around the windows. The windows are placed in relatively optimal places in the framing and evenly on the outside, from the outside, so that the house has a nice clean look. The interior cabinets of most tiny houses are hand built. They're not. They're custom. They're not. Sit down. They're not off-the-shelf, store-bought cabinets. And this is mostly because, you know, the one-size-fits-all that works for large houses doesn't really work very well in tight spaces. And custom cabinets, while they may seem a daunting task for most do-it-yourselfers, I don't think they're actually that hard if you choose to make them simple. Like making a simple shelf or something like that is actually relatively easy to do. If you set your expectations really high and you want a professional type of cabinet, it's of course going to take much more energy and time and money. So here I am, just trying on something else. That doing the kitchen like a little galley kitchen was, boy, taking up a lot of space. So what I was thinking was, I think I might just try a little tiny kitchen like this. And here I've slowed the film down because I'm drawing this little sink. And I also want to mention that this isn't a schematic for a store-bought sink. It's just a representation for what a small sink would look like and the kind of space it would take up inside the house and on the kitchen counter. You can use SketchUp to draw schematics for commercial sinks, of course. I'm not doing that. I'm trying to just focus on the house itself. Now I'm speeding the film up just to quickly whip up this, again, representation of a cabinet. Now I'm going to slow way down because I'm going to show you a clever, I should probably charge myself, ding myself every time I do that, huh? Because it's extremely annoying. So what I've done here is I've drawn I'm going to draw the faucet. I'm drawing some guidelines. Using this little curve tool, draw a curve, a half circle, I took out a line there. Now this is the follow me tool, I think that's what they call it. And all you do is I may have used this in another part of this demo, I can't remember. Anyway, you draw a shape and then you pull it along a line that you've drawn. The line doesn't really become part of the new object that is created. And it's a really handy little tool for doing curved pipes, pipe shapes, and things like that. It's also great for doing doorknobs. Maybe that's where I did it. And again, here I'm just kind of showing something that might look like a faucet and a little knob, a little modern knob. Now you can download shapes like this from the SketchUp library of components. But I like to draw them myself just because it's more fun that way. Trees, though, I don't try. I will always import trees. They're very hard to draw. Okay, now there's that little line. See, that little line was inside that tube there. In other words, it didn't become part of it. It just was used as a guide for that follow me tool. Okay, now I've sped the film back up. I want to kind of visualize what a little marine washer dryer down below and a fridge up above might look like in this little cabinet space. On the other side would be cabinets. At least that's what I'm imagining right now. And I'm not being super precise. I'm more interested in just seeing how that's going to work. Okay, now I've slowed the film down because I just realized this is a great opportunity to show you how, again, to use the follow me tool. I'm using approximate measurements here to draw a doorknob. As you can see, all those lines weren't on the same plane. So, of course, they didn't line up to create a flat surface. So I'm redrawing just that portion Trying to get the thing, there we go, to be one big flat plane. And I'm just kind of guessing on the measurements here. I'm not trying to, again, draw a schematic for a doorknob. I'm really just drawing a representation of it. Then use the Follow Me tool to push that flat surface around that circle. Select it all, made a component. Now I'm going to turn it around. And I'm just going to butt the two up next to each other. I know how thick the door is. So once I get it lined up on one side, which isn't always easy, I'm not sure why SketchUp has such trouble sometimes with lining stuff up. Oh, I know why. Because it's not necessarily the same number of sides on the top and bottom. So in this case, I'm just going to give up since I'm really just trying to show what a doorknob might look like on this door and not the actual plan for the door or doorknob. There. That looks good. Alright, let me speed it back up again and get moving. Now I'm going to wrap up the interior drawing, this segment, part 7, with drawing this little marine fireplace. This is from Dickinson Marine. Now I'm going to whip up some shelves. Yep, finish up the interior. And that's it. The next video will be drawing plans from this 3D drawing.